There was this demon who lived in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. His home was out in the woods where black bears ran amok. And what this guy ended up doing to children, teenagers, and I presume some adults, was absolutely bone-chilling. It's insane how long he got away with his acts without getting caught. Oh. Sometimes, when you think of such horrors, the only thing that you can do is is just lap them away in order to not descend into madness yourself. But this man by the name of Mitch was a criminal. He went to high school, dropped out, went to prison a couple times, and then in his early 40s ended up living with his mother in some nice home that she inherited from a divorce. Mitch stayed in that home with his girlfriend and his two children. But what he had going out in the woods behind it was otherworldly. This was a real bad boy. This guy. Tattoos running amok up his neck. Chiseled chin. Good-looking guy. Muscular, kind of like me. This guy was tough, all right? He was a chick magnet. But he had him within itself to not work too hard throughout his life. He ended up taking advantage of his mother, who was actually bedridden most of the time. She was an overweight woman on disability. She would rarely go out into the woods where Mitch committed his heinous acts. He had a blade, just like this one, a massive knife, a K-bar capable of chopping like an axe. Mitch waited for the children to come to the house. Via trick-or-treating, it started to stir up these demonic ideas in his head. This was back in the 90s when kids would just sort of go out on their own. There weren't cell phones all over the place, so they'd come up to his door with their little glowing pumpkins. Mitch would often dress up as a werewolf or a vampire, which are both quite fitting for what he did with these children. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's disturbing going through these legends of sorts. It can be difficult, but it's important for us to hear these things for perspective. But Mitch would take this knife, hack the children to pieces, and feed the remains to the bears that thrived in the wilderness beyond. These black bears, these hulking creatures, because of Mitch, became familiar with the taste of flesh. More specifically, the flesh of children and young women. Mitch would kidnap these kids, hack them to pieces, bag up their bodies, drag them out into the woods, a couple 100 yards from his mother's house. The mother's house was in a nook, and it still had a mailbox at the end of the long driveway, and the wilderness behind it would go as far as the eye could see. This was connected to not far from the Porcupine Mountains in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, a beautiful place to see But not if you have this haunting urban legend running through your mind. Now, people say that this happened and that the local news covered it up. They didn't want to scare people from coming to their town after they found out about the disgusting things that Mitch did. But how this all accumulated was absolutely horrific, and I'll get to that in just a minute. So the black bears would tower over these little sacks of human remains that Mitch would leave out in his mother's backyard, deep, far behind the house. They'd eat the children, shat and piss all over their decaying corpses, leave the parts that they didn't like, and then the coyotes and wolves would pick apart the remains of their skeletons. What a heinous thing this was. But, what happened afterward was horrific. So Mitch had to hide, of course, this hobby of his, if you will, from his young children and his girlfriend. His girlfriend and him would get in fights often because he didn't really work. He did jobs in his mom's driveway on people's cars. He welded up the cars and did some mechanical work. But beyond that, he stayed home, drank the strong drink, if you will, and probably did drugs. But this little endeavor of his of capturing children, slicing them to pieces, throwing them in his backyard for the bears to eat, started to become an addiction of a sort. And there was this one couple, these two older teenagers, 16, 17 years old. The girl was 16, the boy was 17. He ended up trick-or-treating at Mitch's house one haunting Halloween. The girl was dressed up as a cute little devil or something, had little horns on her, did her makeup all just right, little tiny tights on her, and so forth. Whereas the boy didn't dress up at all. He thought he was a man. I mean, he was 17 years old. So this girl goes walking up to the house, to Mitch's house. Mitch sees her and begins basically foaming at the mouth. He wanted a piece of this chick who he shouldn't have anything to do with, obviously. He must have found her visually appealing. So the girl hesitantly took the candy, turned and walked back to her boyfriend, who was watching on cautiously while Mitch was gazing at her as she walked away. That's when Mitch began following the couple shortly after they walked back down his driveway and toward his neighbor's house. Mitch got into his car and ended up pummeling over this couple because he pulled out of the driveway. He was getting so desperate after all of his endeavors that he started to get careless. And this couple was walking on the side of the road, far down the road to get to Mitch's neighbor's house, who was like a couple hundred yards down the road. And Mitch in his car squeals out of the driveway, and it's dark out. It's about 9 o'clock at night. And he peels off and sees the couple walking, and he pummels into them with his car. Their carcasses go flying. The boy, the young man, goes flying over the hood, over the roof, and then just flies out into the ditch. The girl, he hit more head on. Hit her right on the hips, and she stumbled into the pit, broke both of her hips, broke her legs. The girl was screaming like a little bunny rabbit. Mitch, in some sort of aggressive rage, ran out of his car, grabbed this girl by her skinny little anchor, dragged her into the car, slammed her into it. All the while, her boyfriend was still in the ditch looking up, and he was about to stand up. This guy wasn't as hurt as the girl. Mitch is like foaming at the mouth over this chick. So he ends up peeling out of there. And the boy tries to chase him down. I don't know if Mitch was even conscious of this. Some say that this guy blacked out during this encounter. Mitch drove back to his house, drugged the girl into the house, he ripped off his shirt and wrapped it around her face so she couldn't scream. Wrapped it around her face so tight that she couldn't scream. Tied it around her face. Drug her into the damn basement. And that's when the young man came storming back down Mitch's driveway, limping, but wanting to come down with a vengeance. This guy didn't have a cell phone on him, all right? And there wasn't really a house. I mean, he should have went to the neighbor's house, but he went chasing after Mitch with his girlfriend. He started ringing the doorbell like crazy. He didn't know if maybe it was an accident. Maybe the guy was just trying to help the girl. He had hit him on accident. He didn't know. But he started ringing the doorbell. Bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong. And the mother was waking up. She couldn't get out of bed. The kids started crying because the dogs were going off. Mitch was downstairs with this guy's girlfriend. And that's when things start getting hectic. Mitch became unnerved. He knew that his time was numbered. There was already all sorts of searches out for the children that were missing. The cops did visit his house once or twice, asking about trick-or-treaters over the past couple of years. His time was numbered. His days were numbered. So he ends up barging to the door with a pistol, rips open the door, and just fills this guy with lead. Boom, 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 boom. The guy collapses right in front of his doorway on this wretched Halloween night. The kids are screaming bloody murder. The mother screaming in her bed, hearing the guns go off, the dogs going off. Mitch grabs his two children, his young boys, 6, 7 years old. He races out to his car, throws them into the car, locks the doors to make sure the car's like 50 feet away from the house or something. Locks them in the damn cars, urges them to stay in the damn car and not to move. He pins open the door of the house to let the damn dogs out. That's when he grabs the girl and runs out to the woods with her, drags her out into the woods, where the bears generally would be found eating the corpses or remains of those before her. So he goes out there. He doesn't see any bears. He just sees a couple bones, couple carcasses, couple coyotes in the distance, the glowing eyes. This girl is just moaning in pain, in agony. Mitch decides to leave her out there. He runs back to the house, terrified. The cops are coming. The gunshots must have been heard by the neighbors, and they called the cops. Mitch could see the high sirens, this and that. They didn't really know exactly where the shots came from, but there were cops all over the damn place. Mitch runs back into his house. And remember, his mother's still there in the bed. He gets a can of gasoline, dumps it all over the place, and lights it aflame with him in it. This house, these flames just reach to the heavens. Just the house ignited. Mitch burned himself alive on that heinous Halloween night. So, it was a disgusting scene. This young man was spread out with, looked like a piece of Swiss cheese with all the bullet holes through him, with blood all over the place, dead as a goose. Mitch's house was just swallowing fire, just an absolute unquenchable fire. The flames reaching 100 feet up in the air. The girl was gasping for life about 100 yards away from the house in the backyard as the bears began to approach. The cops finally get there. The bears were eating this young woman while she was still alive, these disgusting, grizzled black bears. The cops fill them with lead, their carcasses burning to a crisp. the bullets causing smoke to gaze up to the heavens from their decrepit corpses. The bears crumble over this young woman. What a heinous night this was. The kids in the car screaming for life, screaming bloody hell. And this nightmare lived on in that town forever. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know how important it is to get into the minute details of these urban legends, but it's important for us to have perspective. You never know who you can trust, and especially don't trust the bad boys on Craigslist. Don't let them work on your damn car, because you never know who you're running into. And watch your kids this Halloween, because you can't trust folks out there. But if y'all will like this video, hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you all tomorrow with more chilling tales from the Iceman.